person on the dinghy that wants to stand up.
Another really hard sail. We got gusts up to 35 knots. Tiny little head sail. Of course the wind is against us again. Not a very long trip, but wow. It's an interesting one. So after that wild and woolly ride, we got to our next anchorage. It's all about finding like a place to hide from the winds, which are fierce to say the least. We've been here all afternoon. Up there is like a ruin. We don't really know what it's about, but yeah, there's not much here, but the scenery is completely different to the other side of the island. I'll just have another look over there. There's a little chapel in the distance. Nice little valley, and that's where the wind's piping through from. But it's flat, which is good.
3 people to lower the dinghy.
We've got the Greek Coast Guard.
Our next anchoring spot, it's called Scala Lutron. We're still on the island of Lesvos. There's sort of a little boatyard, and then in the distance straight ahead, that looks like a graveyard almost. There's some boats that are half sinking and really seriously abandoned. This is our last stop before we go to Mytilene, where we will be parking the boat before we go to Istanbul. The wind is finally manageable. There's still quite a bit of gusts. See, there's another village on the other side of this bay in the far distance. But it's nice and flat here, which is good. We want flat waters. Wind we can deal with. Alright, now it's time for lunch. Oh, and an anchor beer. Guess what? An anchor beer. Yay! So we're in a apparently 200-year-old restaurant with our Hawaiian mates. And it's cool. They even have fans, they have air conditioning. It's almost as cool as in our boat.
You know the name?
It's called
Hermes.
Hermes.
But with it, no H.
All of a sudden in the walks this chick just starts playing on a Latin kick. Around her waist she got a 3 fish net. She started dancing with a castanet. I didn't know just what.
Alright, we're gonna make it full?
Yes. We're on our way to the ancient theater and we're climbing. There is the rooftops of Mytilene, still on the island of Lesvos, of course. And in the background, that's Turkey. We made it. The guard dog doesn't like it too much. So this is what's left of the ancient theater. Wherever you are in the Mediterranean, you find ruins of some ancient civilization. This could well be Roman or Greek, of course. And another ruin, Aegean Sea. Something fishy is going on here. Drying in the sun. There's not much sun though. Must have been caught this morning.
And where we had lunch today.
So that's interesting how that wall just there where Yvette's walking seems to have just caved in. I wonder if they had an earthquake or something, because that's bizarre. Apparently this is one of the big fortress configurations in the Mediterranean, which is a big statement to make, right? And then just there, they're building a stage for some sort of music festival, I guess. But at least we're walking in the shade because it's hot. Of course, as always, we're picking the hottest part of the day to our walk. And then tucked away behind this quite nice old building is a little soccer field with obviously artificial grass. And down there, once again, is the ever-present Mediterranean. I guess that happens when you're on an island, right? There's always going to be some sea. That's quite a wall. Imagine building that, and look at all the different size of stones everywhere to use to build it. And this is obviously the old moat. I wonder if they ever had water in here though, because water up here is a bit scarce. It would have been even back in those days. Hard to say. I think we might have found the entrance. How nice. Go through. And some more shade. We want shade. I guess it's probably a little bit too hot to do this kind of adventure. I wonder what view we're gonna have here. Just trees? No. I expected to see... Oh yeah,
that.
there we go.
Yeah.
There's a bit of sea. So we've paid our dues and now we're here. An old, very old pile of rocks. This was actually a whole city back in the heydays. Look at that. All these remnants of old houses. Even there. So now we're going into the crypt. Entering the crypt. I wonder if it's light enough. Oh yes, they put some lights in here. Oh wow. Wow, look at these.
Amazing.
This is pretty impressive, isn't it? Wow. Look at all the stonework. Things for the air. Gotta watch where you're going. It's not very easy to walk. Look at all the rocks here. I don't know if you can see that. We gotta negotiate all this. Have to do a bit of gymnastics here. Oh yeah, that must have been the toilets. Wow. So one of the projects is rebuilding an old Moorish mansion, which is what they're working on here. There's the bit of the house. But what I really like is this cute little thing here. This must have been recently renovated. Look at that. And then up there where the scaffolding is, let's go and have a look what that is. Good to see that they're doing lots of renovations. We can't get in. But look at this, when this is going to be finished. Look at that. It sure is a building site, but wow, what a job, eh? I'm just looking at this path here that goes all the way down to the entrance, and then to the left is the what they call the middle gate, Imagine how many people would have walked on this over the millennium, really, because we're talking about several thousand years when this started to be built. Another crypt. Cistern. Water. Amazing. Bit windy again, guys. Maybe, I don't know. That's our first port of call. In fact, that little restaurant where the little fishing boat is, that's where we had lunch.